15 surface biomes, one base to build in each one, using only the items found in that biome, with exceptions to silk, iron, and mechanisms. Items may be obtained in-game from another map, from a mod, or an editor. But no paint and no custom items allowed. And don't turn off the spawns. You have 2 hours to build your base. The All Biome Challenge, Surface Edition.
What is going on, everyone? Parsnip here, and today we're going to be doing another biome in the All Biome Challenge Surface Edition. This time, we're gonna go ahead and do the forest biome. Now, before I begin, I would just like to thank once again cheesyPanine for the amazing idea, for the amazing trailer. So if you guys are liking this and are into the biome challenge, make sure to check out her channel for more builds as well as different biomes. So guys, let's go ahead and get started. This time, since we are in the forest biome, the biome that we all start in and that we usually make our builds in, I decided to go ahead and just continue the theme with the normal material that you guys would use on these builds, which is pretty much wood and stone. The only thing that would change here is pretty much the use of the different types of stones, which would be the gray brick and the stone slabs. So what I wanted to start off by doing is make a little central area. That area is gonna go ahead and be a miniature workstation, I guess you could call it, with a workbench and a furnace and whatnot. And right on top of that, I wanted to make some chests. Now, the reason that I did want to keep these two closed is pretty much for the sole purpose of convenience, right? When you have your crafting station in a place, you want chests or things that you have for materials to be in the exact same place, or at least in arm's reach. That way you don't have to keep climbing up and then down, or maybe you forgot something and you have to go all the way to the other side of your build. Next up, I decided that I want to start going and making the next part. So this build is actually going to be looking sort of like a castle. Actually, it pretty much is going to be a castle, and I just want to say that I did run out a little bit of time here. So what happened was that usually I would have more than enough time to make this build and even something a little bit bigger in 2 hours. However, during this build, I was actually talking to a couple of friends of mine, and I ended up building a lot slower than what I normally would, which is a shame because I did want to make something, and I ran out of time, so I ended up not. And you'll see that later on towards the video, and I'll mention that again. And as far as builds goes, I am actually already working on the next biome, which is going to be the Crimson biome, and by far it is my favorite biome and the biggest build that I'm making out of all of the biomes so far. So guys, here we go ahead and have the main structure of the base. The base pretty much has a total of 4 floors, you know, considering that the bottom and the top floor is not really big. I'm gonna go ahead and decide to make some more floors down below. Now on the upper section, you did see me use a little bit more materials, including fences and stuff like that. And that's gonna be the theme for the windows. Since there is no sand in the forest biome, I did have to make windows out of fences, and I think it works pretty well considering this is a castle. You know, maybe something a little bit more sturdy, like iron bars as well as wood fencing on the windows instead of glass. Here you guys can go ahead and see me make 2 little holes under the basement floor, and this is going to be the treasury. So I decided to make this really deep below on the ground because I think this would be the most secure place in the entire castle. You know, maybe they'll put the damsel in distress on the upper floor. However, the gold, materials, and things like that, it's safer down below, where if they're going to be attacked and stuff, it definitely won't get completely destroyed. You know, maybe a cannon shot a ball or something, a flaming ball, and the upper section is definitely going to get destroyed, but the underground section, totally safe. In fact, one of the ideas that I did originally have for this was to make a secret passage that's going to lead us far away from the castle. That way, maybe the king, the queen, or maybe the important people inside the castle would be able to escape. Next up, I decided I'm going to go ahead and start decorating the place. Now, the decorations here are pretty simple. There's nothing too special about it. There is a little section here that I'm not sure is actually valid or not, and you're gonna see this in a bit when I put some stone statues. Now, the reason why the stone statues, and not only the stone statues, but the gold chests as well, might not really be a valid thing to use for this challenge is because though these are easy to obtain, you can't really obtain them above ground. This means that in order to get, well, the statues and the gold chest, you would have to technically go to the cavern biome, which is not the forest biome. However, this solution could be fixed pretty easily. You can just go ahead and switch the statues maybe for some trash cans or something along those lines, you know. It's nothing that's really hard to make. Next up, you probably will also notice me add a couple of banners. Those are super easy since silk is allowed. All you need is pretty much a loom or anything along those lines, as well as a couple of other things like a bed, a bathtub made of iron, and whatnot. So after I decorate the entire place, I decide that I want to expand. I do have a bit of time here, and this is what I was originally talking about, that I did want to have something that looked pretty cool, pretty unique. You know, I was gonna make 2 towers after I made this drawbridge. So the drawbridge itself was gonna serve as a second line of defense. You know, maybe if they destroy the tower, somehow manage to get past the main tower, they'll have to wait for a drawbridge, you know, to go down, because the first thing I associate a drawbridge to is in fact a castle. You know, when you see a castle, the first thing you think might be of a drawbridge, you know, a little moat around it and a way to get in. On the other side, it's going to be a little bit different. There won't be a drawbridge and it won't be as safe, as well as you'll probably notice when I start making the towers themselves that it's actually going to be missing the bottom section, because again I start running out of time, and I'm not going to cheat in or just take more time and technically cheat because of me taking a little bit longer than usual on this build, especially because I was talking to people. But again, guys, like I mentioned previously, the next build, the Crimson build, is gonna be much bigger, much cooler in my opinion. I'm really enjoying it. It's about 40 minutes in, and it's about the size of this build, so you can expect it to be almost or more than twice as big. So here's that little tower that I was talking about. I did mess around with ideas of making it bigger and things like that. You also saw me take away the part on the top. The left tower, that's going to be the exact same thing, is going to be made a little bit different because it's going to have the gray bricks on the bottom and the stone slabs on top. So here I go ahead and decide what would I keep inside the little guard tower, you know, something that's going to go and keep the place safe, maybe some spare weapons and things like that. I also go ahead and reinforce the tower on the right side in case of mobs attacking and whatnot with some stone slabs, and then I just use some actuators on it. Now here's something that I ended up liking a lot, and that is the banners. I decided to go ahead and add some banners just as a little bit of details, I guess you could call it, and I think it looks really good, especially in medieval times where all families had those family crests and things of the sort. I think this looks really cool. So the idea behind these is just to have them spread out towards the castles and towers to represent the family or the king or whatever it is, the organization that's in here. For that, I went ahead and used some rope, some wood, and banners, all of which are super easy to get and obtain. And if you like this idea, I do hope that you guys try it out. You could even change the way the structure is on the build that you're doing. So down below, I decided to make a little stronghold just to support the main little castle. Now the reason that I did want these little watchtowers to be higher is because I think the watchtower, the main objective is to be a lookout. However, with a little bit of luck, this watchtower in particular ended up being on a hill, and since it is on a hill, we can go ahead and use that as a vantage point, right? It doesn't have to be so high because it is on top of that little hill. However, the watchtower on the other side is a completely different story. So the watchtower on the other side, I'm actually still attempting to make it a little bit higher, you know, make it cool, make it tall, something a little bit sturdier, but I end up not doing it because of time. The first couple of structures that I attempted didn't look that great, and overall I decided to just imitate the same tower but with the gray bricks in the bottom and stone slabs on top. The only other difference that this tower is actually going to have is that it's also missing the bottom section, and that is simply because of time. With more time, I would definitely make a lot more on this build because it was a lot of fun. And guys, that's pretty much it. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit more details here and there, and that's pretty much it for the build, guys. So next up, it will be the Crimson biome, and if you guys have any other biomes that you do want me to make next, maybe the beach biome, maybe the corruption biome or something along those lines, make sure to leave a comment down in the section below. And guys, I also just made a Twitter. If you haven't noticed, the Twitter is actually in my profile. You guys could go ahead and click that. I will also leave a link on the comment section below. Not on the comment, but maybe in the description. I'll leave a link of my Twitter for you guys to check out. Now, what can you find in my Twitter? That's gonna be a couple of previews, pretty much. You guys, if you are on my Twitter, you might have noticed that I actually showed a little section of this build before. I will be posting videos there, keep you guys up to date on what I'm doing, maybe decide to do things from comments on Twitter and things like that. So guys, as always, thank you all for watching. If you have any other things that you want to talk about or questions, leave them in the comment section below. And as always, catch you guys next time.